Anyone with a free will, aka observable skills, a brain, eyes, and ears, have known about Nigel Farage, Richard Trice, Boris Johnson, Priti Patel, Aaron Banks, Steve Bannon, Dominic Cummings, Donald Trump, Rupert Murdoch, the KGB, Evening Standard, son, with massive Leave EU fraud. That's why Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon mentioned Nigel Farage several times in the emails, the WhatsApps, the Telegram, the text messages, and why they're talking about hard Brexit in the Jeffrey Epstein files and Leave EU fraud in the Epstein files. Kash Patel is being naughty, and so is the Department of Justice. They're hiding 2.5 million WhatsApp, Telegram, text messages, emails, videos, and files. They are protecting the 1679 Tory and Whigs, robbers, rioters, blackmailers, and blacklist experts. They are protecting Eton Pop, Eton College, King of Clubs, White's Club. They are protecting the Old Boys Network, aren't we now? Yes, Old Boys Network. We're protecting the robbers and the rioters and the blackmail experts, known as the Tory and Whigs, that created your global parliaments, you silly little people. In 1679 onwards, they hijacked all royal families, all tribes and clans globally. They stole the London, Westminster, English family banking vaults and expanded the banking vaults. They created the 1897 to 1905 failed Uganda scheme, which you now know as the Greater Israeli State Project, or the New Middle Eastern Map, Friday, the September 2023 map that Bibi takes to the United Nations. Yes, you're all being grifted by the Tory and Whigs. 1679, they created the Blue Army, Blue Devils under Sir Pill to protect the Tory and Whigs. Sir Pill changed several old boys networks, saying that the working class might figure us out. They might switch to places like building societies and join trade unions, and they might close down their bank accounts. So Sir Pill changed several old boy network clubs to be filthier, more corrupt, and then to expand, they started adding black men and Jewish men that had a bit of money to the Old Boys Network Club. They said if you align to the Tory and Whigs values of bribery, blackmail, corruption, and blacklisting, then you can join Mao Jewish people, you can join black Mao people. Otherwise, you don't get to join Whites, Carlton, Eton Pop, Eton College, King of King Clubs, Whigs, Reform Club, USA Whigs that you know has got Republicans now, mega hats. Black people and Jews weren't allowed in the 1679 Tory and Whigs parliaments and clubs until the 1800s, 1900s. Between 1679 to 1800 to 1679 to 1900, the average black man and the average Jewish man, no matter how rich or well connected they were not allowed in the banking system, they were not allowed in the parliaments, and they were not allowed in the Old Boys Network clubs. Who do you think created your NSA, CIA, KGB, Mossad? MI6 would have helped and advised how to create a blackmail, bribery, spy network. They would have helped them. Yes, MI6 is older than the CIA. MI6 is older than the KGB and FBS. MI6 is older than Mossad. MI6 is 1906 from memory. Mossad, CIA and the KGB, NSA and NASA are 1947, 1948, 1949, 1950-ish. MI6, Tory and Whigs Protection Squad, blackmail spy network experts are 1906. Blue Devils Blue Army, 1839, created by Sir Peel, that you know as Met Police, replaced the River Police. The River Police were more ethical. They worked for king, queen and country, arresting anyone that was corrupt. 1839 Sir Peel Blue Army Blue Devils protect the Tory and Whigs House of Commons so that they can get on with their corruption, their robbery, their rioting, their blackmail, their blacklist expertise. They taught you your education. Yes, they did. They forgot to tell you about the 1897 Russian Labour Bund movement that was anti-Zionist. They wanted to remain in Europe, to speak Yiddish, Hebrew, and to join a trade union and to stay in Europe. They wanted to be able to speak a local language and a Hebrew Yiddish language while also joining a trade union. The Labour Bund 1897 movement was an anti-Zionist movement that wanted to stay in Europe. They wanted to stay in Russia. They wanted the right to join a trade union. They wanted the right to speak Yiddish and Hebrew. They wanted the right to have a religious school in local communities where they would study the Torah. That's what they wanted to do. The anti-Zionist movement wanted to kill Labour Bund 1897 movement with the protesters, the trade unionists, the disabled, the sick, the mentally unwell, the ADHD, the autistic, the neurodivergent, the BAME, the Muslims, the Sikhs, the blacks, the browns, the poor, the gypsies. The Zionist movement, created between 1897 to 1905 with the failed Uganda scheme by 17 Tory and Whigs global parliaments, wanted to originally steal Uganda. Uganda scheme fell apart after Herzl suddenly died. So Herzl was either died naturally or Herzl was killed by the Labour Bund anti-Zionist movement of 1897. Or he was killed by a Zionist movement that wanted to steal the Holy Trinity lands of Philistine, Palestine, Jerusalem, and call it Israel. If you look into old Bibles and old maps, it was called Philistine, Palestine. There was, or Jerusalem, or the Holy Trinity lands. There was no Israel. All religious scholars almost all agree that the reference to Israel in the Quran, the Bible, and the Torah, and the Ethiopian Bible is a man called Jacob, or 12 unknown tribes told to populate the earth. It is not a government, it is not a country, it is not a land. Boy, the 1679 Tory and Whigs and the Vatican really don't like you studying history, and neither does the Ottoman Empire, the Roman Empire, or the Great British Empire. Scott out.